The President of the United States, AKA Marie Antoinette, and we refer to him here as Kanks, is intellectually lazy and only cares about vanity projects and ego based projects. He is a famous non reader. He doesn't give a shit about policy. He's working on his ballroom, he's working on gold leafing the Oval, the horrific remodel of the Rose Garden, which is just so lacking in creativity and being aesthetically pleasing. It's just unbelievable. I digress. While he's doing all of these things, all of these executive orders are being drafted. That national security directive, that is like the thought police that we talked about a few episodes ago, that's all being constructed and written. And I believe the person behind all of this is Stephen Miller. And Stephen Miller is a complete psycho. I'm talking like needs to be in a padded cell in a straitjacket, dangerous as all get out. He's really like Hannibal Lecter that Trump talks about all the time. It's Stephen Miller. Let me just play a clip. He was on the news yesterday. Get a load of this guy.
I see the guns and badges in this room. You are unleashed. The handcuffs that you're carrying, they're not on you anymore. They're on the criminals. And whatever you need to get it done, we're going to get it done.
Wow. So this is not the way civil societies speak to police forces. They want a Gestapo. Stephen Miller doesn't want anybody calling him a Nazi. He doesn't want anybody saying he's a fascist. And he is a Nazi and he is a fascist and he is trying to create a Gestapo, and Democratic leaders need to call it as such. He is the person behind all of this. Rolling Stone did a takedown of how much everybody that works around him hates him. He's completely unlikable. But because Trump is so lazy, it leaves a vacuum for this guy who was bullied as a kid. And now he's acting out all of his brokenness on the global stage. And he has talked about reducing the United States population from 350 million to 100 million people so that you don't have to wait in line when you go to the hospital. Those are his words, not mine. These are really dangerous people. And to think that we're going to give up our country for these broken fucktwats, you know what I mean? That refuse to go to therapy, that refuse to evolve, that are emotionally stunted. And we're going to 250 years of this country, and we're going to go back the ways of Germany in the 1930s for this guy's brokenness because his inner child is all fucked up because his mom and dad weren't nice to him, or some people in junior high bullied him because he's so unlikable. Get over it. Go to therapy. I had to. You had to. You know, it's just fucking life. Adulthood is hard, but this is just so dangerous.
He likes to make himself feel better by being mean and cruel to other people. And you bring up he wants to reduce the population to 100 million people. He's also all, buddy with J.D. Vance, who's got the dark enlightenment theory that only the smart people should have rule and the dumb people shouldn't be involved in government. Then you have Congress cutting healthcare and kicking people off healthcare. So it's a trifecta in my mind. You kick off people from healthcare, sick people die. We don't need sick people. You make dumb people have no access. And then if they get shot in the street, good for them. So it's a trifecta in my mind to reduce the population, to get rid of populations they don't think have value.
And what's so fascinating about it is all of these MAGA policies at their core are attacks on the poor and the working class. And the base of MAGA are evangelical Christians, who the central character of evangelical Christianity is about helping the poor, spoke about a wealthy man having a very difficult time getting into heaven, talking about over religiosity, this Jesus guy, and how off-putting that was. And their base is like they're like the anti-Jesus people. And so I just think Democrats have to call out a lot of things at one time. MAGA Christians are the anti-Jesus, no empathy, hateful, cruel cult. And I think they need to say it in those terms. The person right below Kanks, his top advisor here, is a Nazi, is a fascist, wants to be the thought police, and is trying to organize a Gestapo. MAGA policies are Argentina first and Israel first. MAGA policies, as Pump said, it appears like they want to kill off the very people that voted for them. Because why on earth? Why? When we pay money for Argentinians and Israelis to have health care, why don't we pay it for Americans to have health care? Why don't we do that? Why doesn't MAGA do that? But let's play just another clip from our little psycho Nazi, Stephen Miller.
There's a square inch of block in this city where a citizen doesn't feel safe is unacceptable. This is Memphis. This is the United States of America, and all that bullshit is done. It's over. It's finished. You know, the gangbangers that you deal with, they think that they're ruthless. They have no idea how ruthless we are. They think they're tough. They have no idea how tough we are. They think that they're hardcore. We are so much more hardcore than they are. And we have the entire weight of the United States government behind us. What do they have? They have nothing behind them. So we are going to win. They are going to lose. We are going to rescue Memphis, and it will not only be safer than ever before, but businesses and investment are going to pour in, and Memphis will be richer than ever before because President Trump has decided this is a priority. And when President Trump,
this is straight up racism. He is in Memphis, which has a very large Black population and a Black mayor. And this administration has been selectively focusing on cities that have Black mayors to attack first because inherently they are racist and the MAGA base is racist. Look no further than the person that they idolize and are martyring right now, unrepentant, unapologetic racist Charlie Kirk. But when he says gangbangers, do not kid yourself. That is messaging to white people because there is this messaging that happens to where if a Black person is a member of a gang and commits a crime, all Black people are that. And white people have a tendency in the media and in government to stereotype an entire race of people. We have a white lone wolf problem right now of white men getting radicalized online and shooting stuff up all over the place. And that same stereotype doesn't apply to all white men. But for Black people, it does. And we're here on this podcast to say we see what they're doing, and that is complete racism. And what he's trying to do right there is tell the city of Memphis, you have a Black problem, and we're going to deal with it. That's what he's saying. That's what the white people that hear that are saying. That is, and we're only a news cycle or two away from them just straight up starting to say that. So I'm asking every single white American right now, do you stand with your Black brothers and sisters? Do you or don't you? Because this is beyond politics. This is beyond tax breaks. Racism has always been a fundamental American problem. And you either want to help them eradicate it and see Black and brown people as productive, fabulous members of our society, or you just stereotype the lot of them. And think about if people did this to white people. If all white men were now stereotyped as psychopathic shooters, Fox News would lose their minds. But the Republicans have been doing this for years. And I'm telling you right now, there is nobody on the planet more racist than white evangelical Christians, because the KKK was a religious movement. And it is just now called the Heritage Foundation or the Federalist Society or whatever your local neighborhood church is. And they throw in a few Black members here and there to try to, look, no, we're not really racist. But these places are white supremacist structures. And Stephen Miller's speech right there was an attack on every Black person in Memphis.
I completely agree. And I'll tell you what else. When he says they're more ruthless, I believe that, because I believe Stephen Miller is evil to his core. I think he gets off on hatred and cruelty. I think it's like porn to him. So there is no doubt in my mind that he is going to be rah, rah, sis, boom, bah for these ICE agents with masks over their faces, doing whatever it takes, excessive force, death. He doesn't give a shit. He wants people to suffer.
All right, let's take a moment to hear from our sponsors. You guys, as Pumps and I prepare for these podcasts every day, it is so important that we get accurate news in which to form our opinions, but it's also important that we understand how MAGA is getting their news. And that's why it's so great to partner with Ground News. We both have the Vantage plan. And basically, you guys, they are the Spotify of news, telling you who owns each outlet, where it leans politically, and whether you're reading original reporting or recycled messaging. Here's a prime example. The right is reporting the following: Trump deploys troops to war-ravaged Portland. And then on the Vantage plan, it tells you this is mixed factuality. And then the left reports it as following: Oregon sues Trump administration over National Guard development. And then it tells you this is a very high factuality. So if you're a smart citizen, read facts. So listener, join us by going to groundnews.com/IHIP to get 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan that Pumps and I use every single day. They're subscriber funded, and our favorite part is they are female founded. By subscribing, you're not only getting a tool we all need today, you're also supporting our work here at IHIP News. That's GroundNews, news.com/IHIP. Link is right below in the show notes. Next up, we have Stephen Miller sent out a tweet, and Walter Masterson immediately corrected him. So Stephen Miller tweets, Democrats shut down the government to demand free health care for illegals. Walter responds, undocumented immigrants do not receive federal benefits. Undocumented immigrants pay $100 billion in taxes through an ITIN. This is why ICE used the IRS data to find undocumented immigrants. And there you have it. Undocumented immigrants pay more in taxes than Elon Musk, who thinks that we shouldn't have democracy anymore, that thinks that he can pay $300 million to go and just rip up all of the things that make you safe. The undocumented immigrants pay more in taxes than Peter Thiel. They pay more in taxes than Donald Trump. This is the most insidious part of this whole movement. You have the collusion of big business that uses the dumbass, brainwashed evangelicals that have a very nativist, tribalist, and just outward racist default setting to say you can't have nice things. And they scapegoat undocumented immigrants when really undocumented immigrants have always been a part of the American economy. And the deportation of them has not gone off the way they think. This administration is trafficking in so much propaganda, and they flood the zone every day that you think, oh shit, they're winning. Oh shit, they're winning. Their polling is underwater. And if we can just get Democratic leadership either to step aside and put some fighters, or if they can start fighting, I'll take either one. We can get them to recede, because you saw ABC first capitulate to fascism, and then they capitulated to the American people, to our money. And so we have power here to right this ship. And I just want to move on to another video I thought was pretty interesting. This is Kristi Noem, the puppy killer. She has a boyfriend. She's a married Christian woman, and she has been having an affair with a Trump sycophant named Corey Lewandowski. And Corey Lewandowski went on to talk to the DL Demon Queen about ICE being at the Super Bowl. And the DL Demon Queen, of course, is Benny Johnson, who we all know when he's not acting like he's the biggest Christian in the world. After he does that, he's out eating ass all over Grindr. All right, so play the clip.
ICE have enforcement at the Super Bowl for the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show?
Benny, there is nowhere that you can provide safe haven to people who are in this country illegally, not the Super Bowl and nowhere else. We will find you. We will
I want to
apprehend.
remind MAGA that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States of America. You need to understand that. Puerto Rico is a part of the United States of America. If you guys keep fighting these culture wars, at some point, as you deplete all of the services that government has provided us, that people took for granted, that people didn't realize their tax money went for, like schools, healthcare, et cetera. These culture wars, at some point, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit who plays at the Super Bowl? You don't want to watch halftime? Don't watch it. But these threats from these demon queens, Benny Johnson, and the threat from that guy who runs around acting like a big Christian. Meanwhile, after the scenes, he's banging Homeland Security puppy killer Kristi Noem. They think they have the moral high ground to talk about this shit. You know, it's just so gross. It's so gross.
And here's the deal. The Trump administration, I dare say, the lot of them commit more crimes in a single day than a whole gang full of Latino gang members. Like, they put them to shame because it is corruption on top of corruption on top of corruption all day, every day. And I get so sick of all of this crap. And I think the World Cup and the Olympics needs to stop and think, are our citizens safe in the United States of America if they go to enjoy these Olympic Games and the FIFA World Cup? Because history tells us, with all the soccer games in the United States, they're setting up in soccer games to arrest people. So if I'm a foreign country, I give this a second thought, because we already have like travel advisories from Canada and the Netherlands. Like, think about it before you send your family.
I agree with that. They should think about it. I wish that they would say, we're not doing it. The United States is clearly violating international law by continuing to fund war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu and denying people due process within the United States of America. But here's the rub about where we are, Pumps. Because Kanks wants to look like the hero.
Right.
And the World Cup and the Olympics are vanity projects for him. He will call off the Gestapo. And they know that he'll do that because he's the most predictable, easy person on the planet. He will go into these cities in advance and do a bunch of ruckus. And then when the soccer players or the athletes arrive, he's not going to start grabbing people from the stands because he knows it would be an international disaster. And that's why these guys cherry pick when and where to use the laws, because the laws don't apply equally across the board. And this is a presidency of optics. This is a presidency of propaganda. And this is a presidency of opportunists. And when this is all set up, he will, like Hitler did with the Olympics in the 1930s. He was there watching all the athletes. Kank's fat ass will be there.
He will.
Watching all this shit. He'll be stealing gold medals. Yeah. He'll be stealing trophies. ICE will not be removing anybody from the stands because this is a vanity project for him. And so I hope that our leaders that we have here can start every single day going to the microphone and saying, this man has dementia. He's clearly not running the country. He's so crazy. He's declared war on American cities. That's weird. That's unconstitutional. He spoke to military leaders about them attacking fellow American citizens, which would be a betrayal to the oath they took to uphold the Constitution. He is bailing out Argentina. He's bailing out Israel nonstop, not arresting Benjamin Netanyahu when he steps his ass on American soil. We clearly have a big fucking problem here because we have Chuck's notes, Stephen Miller, total psycho Nazi running the country. Like, the Democrats need to get serious because this is just such a layup. It's such a layup, and they aren't nearly as popular as they present to the world. And the Democrats could be super duper popular, but we have Tweedledee and Tweedledumfuck in the Senate and the House as our leaders. And I've had it. All right, listen, buy our book, Life is a Lazy Season of Shit Sandwich. Subscribe to our show, and we'll see you all later.